I'll ask you this question because you are by far Kenya's best performing governor.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you.
I'm not being kind. I'm just telling it like it is. And you've got a very, very high perception. Well, you're held in very high regard in this country by people. You can see it off our Twitter line. You can see it off of all the social media as people listen to you this morning. What ails the governors? Why is this not replicable in other counties, and especially counties that have the same sort of base as yours has begun with, which is that they are underdeveloped, that you already know what the main roads are, that you already know what the main concerns of that area are? Why is this not being translated, and can it be?
I think many governors have become slaves to bureaucracy. You know, bureaucracy is good, but you can become enslaved. And I think it's a portion of, we have to break away from the norm. And I have done some things that are not considered orthodox. I have said, why should I, for example, why should we buy brand new vehicles from the governor and my executive members, my ministers, whereas majority of Kenyans are buying reconditioned vehicles? Why do things the way they have been done just because they have been done that way and they are wasting public resources? Some people will be very uncomfortable with this. People are scared of actually going against the norm because they think, wait a minute, what will happen if we do this? But somebody has to go against the norm for us to be able to save public money, because we are a very, very poor country, and utilize every shilling to its maximum effect in changing the lives of our people. So I think most of my colleagues have been caught up in bureaucracy, and also they're being scared. They're being told, if you do this, Kenya Anti-Corruption will say you flouted procedures, all this. And we are saying, okay, accuse us of flouting procedures, but was money lost? Was there any corruption? Was any money actually squeezed out? Because look at it. If we buy second-hand vehicles, for example, for 30 million shillings, instead of 120 million shillings, then we can take the extra 100 million shillings that we could have bought those vehicles for luxury and put them in buying ambulances to take our pregnant mothers to hospital. Who is better off? It is our people. And so we have to have the courage to say, enough with this nonsense that has actually encouraged corruption and basically stealing of government coffers and slowing down development. And we have the courage to say, this is the time to transform Kenya, and to have the courage to do it.
Governor Alfred Mutua, #Machakos finest. We've seen the attempted impeachment of 2 governors already, and we've heard of different threats from different quarters, I believe even from your quarter at some point, of MCAs saying, well, listen, we're going to impeach you. And a lot of it seems to be crippling governors and governors' abilities to act. Would that be, number one, a fair assessment? And 2, how do you handle the politics at that level so that everyone's pulling or towing the line?
There's it depends on where you come from. Machakos, we're okay. But in most places, you realize that the previous councillors are the ones who, for quite a large extent, got elected. And the councillors had a different understanding of how things are done. Their relatives got hired. They got the contracts in the government to do all the work, and at times mostly shoddy work. And so a lot of governors are finding people who are really not in tune with what we have. The Constitution is very clear that it wanted that all the new MCAs, senators and all that, to have post-secondary education. And unfortunately, my own senator, Mudhama, went to court and actually pleaded, and that was put aside for these first 5 years. So you've got people who are really not educated to the new constitution levels and who do not understand their actual role of balancing and keeping the government in check. So that's one of the challenges that we are facing. But it's temporary. It's temporary. It's going to go away.
You mentioned the numbers of things that you've done, the lighting, the police cars, the ambulances. A question coming in from I.L. Jerry this morning is, how has all of this translated into jobs for the people of Machakos?
What it has done is that it's not just about jobs. It's about quality of life. When we provide ambulances in every location, it means that anytime, and we've timed it, anytime you call for an ambulance day and night, anywhere in Machakos County, between 3 to 8 minutes, at most 10 minutes, an ambulance will be outside your door. In the hard to reach areas, we have motorcycles that can get there and save your life as they wait for the van ambulance to make it up to the hill or wherever you are, or to the suburb. If you've got police cars, because people say, if you've got, let's say, if you've got a good job, you're well employed, you go home, you've got children, you have food on your table, you've paid your rent, you watch your football, you go at night, and thieves come in at 3 o'clock, rape you, rape your children, take your TV. There's no peace. Security is the most important facet next to health in terms of achieving a good life. So now with the police vehicles, with the CCTVs, with the 500 communication gadgets we've bought for the police in Machakos, it means that there is quick response, that you don't have to live in fear. So what it's translating is quality of life. Jobs are being created indirectly, where people are being employed to drive the ambulances, are being employed to do this and that. But employment also comes with economic activity. For example, when you look at the activities that we had this last weekend in Machakos, Masako Sevens, the ASK show, the Daystar graduation, and all these visitors coming, we have estimated with my Minister of Finance, we had a meeting, that Machakos County made 50 million shillings out of that. That's money now that we are plowing into youth centers to actually enhance our youth so they can actually enhance their talents. So they can go somewhere, record their music, learn, use the computer, and do all those things. So it's about wealth creation. The jobs are coming with investors. And this is where we have a very, very deliberate plan to give free land to investors who are going to come and translate what is just a piece of land into a factory that directly and indirectly hires many, many people. And where youth now start getting jobs. So that's how it does. It's 2 levels. You have to take care of the basics, and you have to go into generating wealth for our people.
When we come back, we've got to talk about the funding and the financing for it. You mentioned, just that turnaround out of one weekend. But also we've seen a lot of what has been complaints about budget allocations, the timing of the budget allocations, what is dispensed when, and the recall or the return of funds that have not been utilized or have been wrongly utilized.